Hello, welcome to Candid Conversations, and I am the official Tracy Ricks. Today, I want to talk to you guys about pride. Yes, on my previous video, I talked to you guys about the one thing, pride, that almost destroyed my marriage. And so I wanted to continue on with that conversation. And first of all, I want to ask you to go ahead and click like on this video. I want you to subscribe to my channel. And then I want you to click on the notification bell so that you can become notified when I upload new videos. But once again, I talked to you guys about pride. And if you're new here, I just want to recap a little bit so you can know exactly what happened. I want to give you all of the tea. Well, I was talking about how in the beginning stages of my marriage, I had an issue. Yes, I did, with pride. Now, let me give you a little background about pride. Usually, pride is a form of self protection for people who've been fractured. This doesn't mean that you're a bad person, but just some little things that maybe you need to look at a little bit more deeply. And I did an honest self introspect, and that's how I discovered that pride was the culprit for all of the issues I was dealing with. Well, the majority of them in our relationship. Once again, do an honest, gentle self introspect, and then ask God, God, reveal me to me. I want to know how to become a better version of myself. Well, back to what I was saying about the relationship. A lot of the times when we would have disagreements, I was the type of person that, I never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever felt like, it could be something that I did. I would always point my finger back at him. And I remember also one time when I was in prayer and I wanted to talk to God about him, and you get him, God, and you get him, God. And God began to tell me, what about you? What part did you have to play? And that's when I really began to become tenacious. I mean, really tenacious. I became aggressive about my changes that I needed to make. And I want to share this with you guys. The Bible said that pride comes before a fall. So maybe if you're having some issues in your relationships, any relationship, whether it be a marriage with your children, and it seems like you guys can never, dissolve those issues, I will submit to you just maybe that pride could be the culprit, could be the reason why someone is not willing to be in. And let me say this, God will allow relationships to grow us up. Notice I say he will allow it. That's if we allow it to grow us up and mature us. I know me personally in my relationship, and I'm going to talk about me because I won't be mad with me. There was a lot of times that I felt like, oh God, I can't take this anymore. Because pride will have you feeling like, a victim, like someone is just, coming down on me and I don't have any faults. A prideful person is a person who's, once again, trying to self-protect. There was times where I didn't want to receive, even when it was in love, when my husband would speak things, even concerning our relationship. And I had to put on my big girl underwear and decide that my peace is more important. Our relationship is more important than me holding on to pride and proving that I'm right and I'm strong and I'm an independent woman. We don't have to prove anything. Once again, Jesus took our guilt, our shame, and our blame. Thank God for that. And we don't have to prove anything to anybody. We don't have to self-protect. We're ultimately, protected by who? God. Now, in the book of James, it also talks about how wisdom from above, it talks about how it is pure and is filled with peace. Now, I came up with this saying, me and one of my accountability partners, for the sake of the peace. For the sake of the peace in your relationship. Are you going to hold on to that pride? Are you going to hold on to having to prove that you're right and that you're strong? For the sake of your relationship. For the sake of peace in the home. What about with your children? For the sake of the peace with your children, do you still want to prove the point that, I'm always right? See, a prideful person always think they're right. They're closed-minded. They feel like I read the whole Bible. I know all of that. But are you doing it, my love? And I'm saying this with love. Now, once again, the Bible talks about how God resists the proud, but it says he gives grace to the humble. When I began to humble myself under the mighty hand of God in my relationships, that's when things began to change. I mean, drastically. And I can truly tell you guys that as we begin to resist the devil, as I began to decide that I was going to, operate in peace, and I drew closer to God, that's when really, I noticed the things around me, the people around me, my relationships began to change for the better. And really, I'm going to tell you guys this. if you don't decide that you want to change and you decide to engage in another relationship, maybe you'll get a divorce, or maybe you guys will just decide that y'all gonna be roommates. Then any other relationship that you decide to engage in, if you just say leave him or leave her and go to the next relationship, you're going to take that same spirit, that same character flaw with you. And that's why so many people, they find themselves jumping from one relationship to the next. And I want you to ask yourself, what's the common denominator? What's the common, flaw that I'm experiencing in not just this relationship, but in maybe my previous relationships? And this is not being ugly. This is not to tear you down, but this is to build you up so you won't keep making the same old decisions that's putting you back in the same old predicament that you don't want to be in. Who wants to keep going from one relationship to the next? And it's so emotionally draining, you guys. It's a lot. So today or tonight or whenever you're watching this video, the replay, just do an honest, gentle self-introspect and say, God, show me. Now let me say this. The Bible tells us that pride comes before a fall. We know this. But it also talks about how, those whom God loves, he chastens. When we talk about chastens, that means educate. That doesn't mean he's going to beat you down. Now, if you're feeling condemned and you low down and you no good and, those negative words that's being spoken over you, whether it's from you or somebody else around you, that's not God trying to convict you. No, it's not. Whom God loves, he chastens. That means he educates. So when we're doing an honest self-introspect, God is going to talk to us about us in love. He's a good father. He's not going to tear you down. So if you're in a relationship, once again, and it's verbal abuse, whether it's you or somebody else, don't think that's God. Even if people try to use scriptures to beat you up. There are some people who use scriptures. Yes, they will. Take them out of context to try to beat, people down. But once again, this is to encourage you. This video, I pray it will cause you to say, you know what? This is not the way I want my story to end concerning my relationships, concerning my marriage, or concerning my, potential to become married. Because once again, if you take that prideful spirit into another relationship, if you leave one and go to the other, it's going to go right with you. And we want to deal with it, because anything we're not willing to confront, we'll never conquer it. We want to be able to decide that I want to become the best version of me. I want to look more like Christ. I want to become the best version of myself. Do you know that you were created on purpose for a specific purpose? And when you engage into a relationship with somebody, I pray as somebody that you trust that God is sending your way. And even I'll say for me and my marriage, I decided, and my husband and I, we want our marriage to be a reflection of Christ. We want our marriage to be an example, as he would say. And I decided that, hey, I'm going to look at Tracy. I'm going to resist that prideful spirit. It is a spirit. And now a lot of times things get passed along from generation to generation. Let me talk about that. Maybe you grew up in a household or in an environment where people were very prideful. For an example, and I spoke about this earlier, about how you don't want to apologize. That's pride. You don't want to realize, or you don't want to feel like, you missed it in an area. None of us are perfect. Thank God for our Savior. But none is perfect. We're getting better every day in every way, those of us who make a choice. But if I decide that I want to hold on to pride and I'm letting that thing pass along, I can't say that I'm on a generational curse. Okay, you new creation, you. That's another message. That's another session. But you can't say it's a generational curse. It's a generational, perhaps, habit, because I picked it up. I had an issue with apologizing. And I thank God that my relationship grew me up, because there was times when my husband pointed it out to me and I didn't want to see it, still holding on to pride. But when I realized that me being right did not mean more to me than me accepting the fact that I needed to grow so that I can keep my relationship, and not just keep it, but I wanted it to flourish. So we have to understand that, we have a choice to make. Well, this is just how I am. This is how you have learned to be. Anything you have learned, guess what? We can unlearn, we can relearn. And I decided that I had to unlearn some of those things concerning pride. Pride, it goes into different areas of our life. Maybe you're going into a prideful relationship with someone that you might want to marry one day. And I say prideful because you're going to take that pride in there. And then now you're wondering why, once again, you're spiraling into all these different relationships, and wondering why I keep attracting this kind of man or type of woman. It's because the fact that you still have that pride, and you're, not allowing yourself to grow. Maybe, not everybody, maybe you're just not allowing yourself to grow, and you're holding on to that pride. And so when you're involved in a relationship and you're attracting the wrong kind of person, that person that keeps coming in, and then you also have the pride, maybe operating through you. And this is with love. Notice this with love. Then, if you don't decide to do something about that, or face the fact that maybe, just maybe, I have an issue. Once again, a prideful person, it's hard for them to see themselves because they feel like it's not for me, that I don't need that. I know that. That's a sign of being very prideful. But once again, when you make a decision that I want to do better, I want to be a light in my relationships. For me, I decided that I wanted to be a light to my children, to my husband, even though they already, they had received Christ, and they decided that they were going to live a life for Christ. I didn't want me to be a hindrance for them looking at me because I'm stubborn, and I don't want to, humble myself under the mighty hand of God. And then it's a bad reflection to my children or to my husband. I wanted my light to shine in my home first, and then take it out into the world. And so I pray, my prayer for you is that you do an honest, gentle self-introspect. And I had to decide that I had to, I was going to humble myself under the mighty hand of God. And see, the Bible say God gives grace to the humble. So what are you saying? I'm telling you, hey, from experiences, that he gave me grace as I was growing. And let me say this, if you're dealing with somebody who's prideful, let me flip the coin, as we would say. Give them grace to grow. Maybe they are still trying to learn how to say, I apologize. But don't, when they come back to you, oh, it took you long enough. Who are you? I mean, Christ, he gives us grace to grow. Thank God. Grace. Somebody say grace upon grace. And so we have to give our mates grace to grow. Now, if you're in an abusive relationship and they're verbally or physically abusive, I'm not telling you to stay in that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you have somebody that's trying to grow, that's willing to grow, then give them an opportunity to do that. And this is another thing a prideful person will say in a relationship. Somebody's trying to change, and a prideful person will say, well, if you really wanted to change, it wouldn't take you 3 months to change. It took me 1 month. So now you're trying to tell them, on their process, how long it's supposed to take them to grow. Just give them the grace that God gave you when you miss it. When that prideful spirit, or when that prideful thing comes back up that you had a challenge with, just like you want them to give you grace and God gives you grace, give your mate grace to grow. Give your children the grace to grow. So my prayer for you guys and for us, as a tribe, as a community, is that we'll realize that all of us is a work in progress. All of us. Let's give each other grace to grow. And having said that, pride have destroyed so many God-ordained relationships. And I spoke about this on my previous video. So many relationships. A lot of times people will say, well, I left because I was just tired. I didn't want to put up with that anymore. Once again, did Jesus put up with you? What did he put up with when he went to the cross? So let's be mindful of, once again, giving each other the grace to grow for the sake of the peace in your home. What are you willing to do? Are you willing to die to self? The Bible talks to us about dying to this flesh, long suffering, and back to self-love. If I don't operate in self-love, knowing that God loves me, then I won't be able to give grace to other people, because I'm going to be hard on myself. When I don't practice self-love, that's why a lot of times when people go into these relationships, it's a lot of baggage, heavy baggage. But if you don't have self-love already evident once you become, engaged in a relationship with somebody else, you're not going to be able to show love to them. The Bible says to love our neighbor what? As ourselves. It talks about a man loving his wife as he loves himself. And I'm paraphrasing that. But if he doesn't love himself, how is he going to love his wife? If she doesn't love herself, how is she going to love her husband the right way? So therefore, when pride presents itself and you guys are in a heated discussion, then the first thing that's going to happen, a fractured person, they're going to try to self-protect, and that pride is going to cause, I'm talking about the relationship to become damaged. very damaged. It has destroyed so many homes because of pride. So many people that you were supposed to be connected with, maybe people that you know, excuse me. I'm not accusing you. Satan is the accuser of the brethren. But there's so many people, there were relationships that were God ordained, but because of pride, they couldn't say, I'm sorry. Or maybe just, I can receive what you're saying in love. Or I forgive you. You know, I forgive you are words that can save a marriage. It can save a family. Or let me say this, not just I forgive you or I apologize, these two words. I forgive you, the three that works, and I apologize can shift a whole marriage that's going towards divorce court. Well, the ball is in your court. You can decide today, this is not how I want my story to end. I heard you, well, you don't know my mate. It's hard to deal with. You be the change that you want to see in that relationship. It's impossible to sow love and not reap love. And what I mean by that is, once again, not telling you to take abuse, but I'm encouraging you to take the grow up pill. Decide that, God, you know what? I want you to work through me, work with me, educate me on what I'm doing wrong. I want to have peace in my home. Decide I'm going to have peace that passes understanding. It's not worth it. Sometimes now I look back over the things that I used to get worked up about when I was in pride. I laugh about it now. It's not even worth that, you know? It's just not worth it for the sake of the peace. And I'm telling you guys, God has so many great things planned for your life. If you're still here in spite of this pandemic, you were created on purpose for a specific purpose. Every relationship that you're in, know that God has ordained some of these relationships. I'm not saying all of them, but some of them. I've seen a lot of marriages that was God ordained, but because people didn't know who they were, they didn't understand self-love. They got caught up into pride, and that pride created a great fall. And I just want to encourage you guys, once again, the ball is in your court, and I'm here to help you. And for those of you guys who are ready to take that next level, that next leap of faith concerning overcoming pride and being free enough to say, I need help with my finances. Yeah. Sometimes that marital relationship, it could cause a lot of challenges when the money is funny. They said that at one point, the number one reason for divorce was money. Of course, communication and then money. And money at one point was at the top. But I want to help you guys. Let me help you. I have a virtual class that I'm offering, Finances One-on-One. We're going to talk about the basics on this Friday night, September the 16th at 7 p.m. It's virtual. If you cannot come on live, then we will provide the replay once you register. But this class is going to help us, those who are close to retirement. Maybe you just need some answers on how to get started. It's not too late. Don't beat yourself up again. Maybe you guys have a lot of pride concerning your finances. You guys don't want to talk about it because you think you know it all. Please, let's not be like that. But I want to offer you the help that could take your finances to the next level. They've been talking about a recession. Someone say, I'm not participating. Let's decide to be proactive. So we're going to talk about Finances 101, the basics, start right there. And also Kingdom Wealth Building Strategies. Somebody say Kingdom Wealth Building Strategies. So that's on Friday night, September the 16th at 7 p.m. It's virtual. And if you're not available to come on live after you register, you will receive the replay. Share the information with someone close to you or someone around you that you want to see, take their finances to the next level. I know that's something we don't like to talk about. Pride won't let you talk about it, but put the pride aside and let me help you. So click on that link below and you can receive the information on how to register. Early bird registration is over, but the good news is the class is only $35. And also I want to share with you guys my community that every month I'm going to have at least 2 empowerment classes. I just want to help you guys to grow. We can all grow together. I want to take you from stuck to unstoppable in every area of your life. Also, if there's some information that you'd like for me to share with you, any subjects that you want me to, to talk about in candid conversations, leave that in the comment. Let me know this is what I would like more information about. And I'm here to serve you. I just love you guys. I thank you for your time. Don't forget, if you're new to my channel, I want you to click on the notification bell so that you can become notified when I upload videos. Then I want you to subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And I want you to like it. and share it. I believe caring is sharing. So thank you for your time. Once again, I'm the official Tracy Ricks, and I want you to know that not only does God love you very, very much, and He has placed His hands on you for something special, and it's bigger than big and greater than great. But let's lay the pride aside so that we can receive the help that we all need. Thank you again. See you in my next video.